This is a Hot Pie Original.
Go, Jeff, go. Going, man. Look at him. That's pretty cool. They need to paint that thing better, though. That looks like it's, I don't know, I guess stripes on it or something. So, like a lot of people, they're going, right now, it's at 490, 500 miles, 600 miles, 800 miles per hour.
Max Q is confirmed. Beautiful burn on that BE3 engine.
And log on and buy some stuff, too.
Liquid oxygen as the propellant. It's a nice, not just clean in terms of beautifully performing, but what comes out of it, it's steam, right? Whew. To see the glow of the engine underneath the rocket just under our shoulders, and to know that we've got a crew that is going to space, it just feels different, doesn't it, Gary? It's totally different.
All right, so they're at 1,200 miles per hour. For those that didn't know this morning, at one point you said, oh, man, there goes Jeff Bezos into space. Wait, Jeff's back. Oh, hey, he's back already? Like, I'm sitting in traffic. They're back? Where'd he go? Like Waco? Yeah, up and back, man. So, launched out of Van Horn. I guess that explains why they were constantly wearing cowboy hats. I don't know. And back, floating back to Earth.
The rocket, you get to see all of the things that go on a flight for a short period of time, and the adrenaline that goes with it. I think they're just excited and wanting to tell the story when they get back.
And what a story they will have, a lifetime of stories. Majorless and you stand by as we watch. Jeff Bezos, his younger brother.
Is he married again? What kind of prenup is that? I know what you're thinking. She wants that thing to not make it. I didn't say that. All right, so it's really cool. So they launch, Blue Origin goes into space and back. And Jeff Bezos, who financed this, so he said Blue Origin's first crew represented one step toward the company's mission of expanding to a point where people live and work in space. I don't know what that felt like when they hit the dirt back in Van Horn. Couldn't they ask to land somewhere else except Van Horn? Can we go to Cabo or something? So they land back down. There he is waving. And so they're back. So he says, quote, this tiny little step of what Blue Origin is going to do. What we're really trying to do is build reusable space vehicles. It's the only way to build a road to space. And we need to build a road to space so that our children can build the future. John McClellan is the co-founder and creator of ATX Hot Sauce in all 50 states, now in several retail outlets as well. So we're going to turn it over to the social media rock chef superstar, and we're going to walk through a few sauces and why you should buy. We've done Beat Heat, so we're second in line now for the tasting. Don't forget, everyone, go to atxhotsauce.com. So here we go.
All right, so this one is our smoked habanero 5-pepper. We smoke habaneros with ancho, pasilla.
Is that going to hurt?
This one? No,
Yeah.
This one's actually really, really good.
Okay.
This is like your traditional tapatilla, but without the vinegar in it, right? And because of that fermentation process that we've talked about all the time. This one is great on sandwiches, pizzas, things like that. Great on hot wings. I think you're going to really like this one too, especially the smoky flavor with the adobe chipotle and the smoked habaneros. We actually smoked the habaneros before we...
Does that go with the cab?
This would not go with cab. This would go with the great Chenin Blanc, though.
I teed you up with that one.
Yeah, yeah.
That is good. That's good.
Yeah. Good. It's just classic take. Well, it's a new take on a classic item. So it's called Smoked habanero 5-pepper.
All right, don't forget
One
ATX.
of my favorites.
Don't forget atxhotsauce.com. Okay, this is what he said post. It was cool. And so now we've had, in consecutive weeks, we've had really, really rich guys, in his case, the richest, go to space. They're not walking around up there or anything like that, but they've gone back. And it's cool. But I'm thinking, so for those that don't know this, Richard Garriott, who went to University of Texas, an Austin guy, had gone to space, was the first rich guy to go to space, buy his way into space, and did it some time ago. Now, I can't remember what his price tag was. I want to say it was $25 million or something like that. And there's a documentary about him, and he's a fascinating guy. He's been to both poles. He just recently went to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. He's been to space. He went to space years ago. There's a documentary about it. And so I thought, wait a minute. I had him on the show not long ago. We talked about this very thing, the ramp up to rich guys being able to go to space. And you can Google all about Richard Garriott. It is a unbelievable story, not just as a legendary gamer, but the guy's life. I mean, it is an amazing life. And he's been to space, and he knows everybody involved. It was a part of the discussions about Bezos, and now Elon Musk, I guess, is next up. You know, he's in the on-deck circle now to go to space himself. But I remember asking, listen to what Richard Garriott says when I asked about, okay, what is the point of all of this, and to rich guys being the only ones able to go to space?
The problem we've had for access to space is that, while 50 years ago when this began, there was nobody other than a government that could amass the amount of wealth and the amount of talent that had to be pooled to do something as unbelievable as getting off this planet and reaching the moon. However, it's extremely expensive to do that the way they did it. And it's also been very dangerous. And when things are very expensive and very dangerous, you don't do it very often. And so it's understandable that under those conditions, access to space would be rare. But if you think about other forms of transportation we have in our lives, whether that's cars, planes, boats, or trains, all four of those mature forms of transportation, when you run out of gas, you fill up the gas tank and you go some more. With rockets, we've been stuck in this mindset of on the maiden voyage, you burn all the fuel in the tank and then you destroy the booster. You let it drop onto the ground and it's literally destroyed and you go build another one. Well, when you destroy the maiden voyage vehicle, you're not learning much about how close to the edge of survivability it was. You're not learning much about reusability. You're definitely not reusing it. And so again, it remains very dangerous and very expensive. And it's taken people such as Jeff and Elon who were inspired by the Apollo era. And I would argue that almost all the captains of industry of the great tech revolution of the United States, a lot of us grew up in the Apollo era and we believed in the 2001 vision of the future that never happened. And so as they've now made their fortunes, they're turning back to what made them passionate in the first place and saying, we are going to manifest that future that we all believed in, and we're going to race each other to make it happen. And it is becoming much cheaper and much safer. And that is good for everybody. Because if you think about, if you wanted to do some work in space or take a vacation in space, it'd be way too expensive for almost anyone. But these new technologies have already dropped the price by about tenfold. Elon believes that even with the vehicles he's got, he can get it down another tenfold. And with Starship coming on, it'll be 1,000 times cheaper than it was just 10 years ago. And so that means it's going to make it available for all of us. So it's expensive today, but it is rapidly becoming cheap enough for everybody else.
From the Hot Pie Media Studios in Austin, Texas, it's the Jeff Ward Show. Listen at jeffwardshow.com.